Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dial the Gate. My name is David Reed. You're back for more torture. Stargate SG-1 Seasons 2 and 3 concept art are going to be covered in this episode. By no means a complete list of concept art, but there's definitely probably more than likely a few pieces. Definitely, probably, more than likely. A few pieces of concept art that you've never seen before. If you are in this space. So there's a few things that I want to show to you this episode. Before we get started, though, if you like Stargate, you want to see more content like this on YouTube, it would mean a great deal if you click that like button. It really makes a difference with YouTube's algorithm and will definitely help the show grow its audience. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate friend, and if you want to get notified about future episodes, click that subscribe icon. Giving the bell icon a click will notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. This is key if you plan on watching live. And clips from this live stream, actually the clips from this one, this is a special, so these will not be released for a little bit, but eventually we will have clips from the live stream, something I'm going to be working on later this year. So without further ado, let's look at season 2 and 3 concept art from SG-1. Ken Rabehl made most of this. Brenton Harron did make some. If I see Harron's name on, I will do my best to call everyone out. No one's perfect, but I will do my best. Before we get to season 2 and 3, this is probably something that I'm going to start doing on a regular basis. Pieces that I missed from previous episodes. So let's start off with a few pieces that you might have seen before. This is something that was developed for Children of the Gods, actually, and I probably should wait until I do like a Children of the Gods exclusive episode because there was a lot of costume art and props art that was created for Children of the Gods, but I really wanted to show it to you here. A couple of these, they're very significant. This was, it had to have been just created as a lark. Serpent guard, helmet concept. Like, were it total CGI and you use the film as a starting point and they went even further with it, I would have been really interested to see this on screen. This is a dramatic departure from some of the other stuff. And we do have the Serpent Guard artwork from Children of the Gods that I will be showing when all is said and done. I'm going to go back around kind of like Brad did with a final cut and show Children of the Gods content. But I really wanted to show you guys this first. This is... Wong may have done it as well. Hopefully we'll get these guys on at some point. Ken Rabehl, may he rest in peace. He is no longer with us. That's why I'm going through this content without him here, because he couldn't have provided his blessing. But yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces, and this is an original. Really, really cool. Tremendous departure from what came before. For something else in the development of Children of the Gods, they were developing the DHD. And they were trying to figure out, okay, what's this thing going to look like? Well, someone out there had apparently watched Star Trek The Next Generation or had influences from it. Check out this. This is a completely different concept for the dial home device. This would have been so cool to see. Not necessarily as practical, though. And I can't blame them for not wanting to go this way. So, look at Danny Boy there working on that. Can you have imagined if it had... Come on. There we go. Can you imagine if it had gone this way? Exterior mountaintop Chulak. Dial home device concept. Touch panel with celestial symbol. This is the thing that I love about concept art, because it showcases, in some instances, a dramatic redirect. Either this came first, or they were like, you know what, let's try a few different things, and they didn't go this way for whatever reason. But you can see in some instances, not necessarily in this one, you can see where they were coming from to go where they went with what ultimately ended up on screen, which is one of the reasons that I just love this, is because you can't in this one. It's so vastly different. And it's just one of my favorite originals. If you look really closely in my collection, you can see the pieces which are original and which ones aren't. There's a lot of money that I went through to get these. More than I'd care to admit. One we missed for season 1 was Skara aboard his Peltac. That's Goa'uld for bridge, but most of you probably already know that. This is clearly, like that console was taken from the feature film. A lot of people are like, why don't you do screenshots? Like, because I'm not going to be responsible for dumping all of this content online where anyone can just print it and start selling it. That's my real fear there. I trust most of y'all, but some of y'all, well, some of y'all. So absolutely beautiful piece here. Ken, man, I wish I could have talked with him for this show. There is so much that I wanted to ask him. I'm just so thankful that we have James Robbins willing to contribute. Another one from Within the Serpent's Grasp. Yes, this is another concept for the hallway. They did so many hallways, and I can understand why, drawings for hallways, and I can understand why, because these sets stood through season 5. And were used, in all other kinds of circumstances as well. Like you can see them in Wormhole Extreme. You see them in the Tomb. That you can see the basic archways and spaces where they put bricks on top of it for Tiamat's tomb. But yeah, there's a little Carter. I think that's Jack behind her. Okay, now on to season 2. All right. Now that was a grenade. Interior Apophysis ship, Cavern Mat. So this is basically the equivalent of the Warp Core for all intents and purposes. I love the subtle use of whiteout. These specs here, these are all whiteout. And they stand in for lighting. In a lot of concept art, you'll see that. Little teeny tiny tricks. How about the Ashrak device from In the Line of Duty? Color and technical notes. Ring metal has a dark copper color with naquita lines. Jewels are to emerald green and turquoise and burgundy to be rigged for lighting. Yeah, because that was achieved as a visual effect. Refer to model for sizing and fit details. Really, really cool. Like how they identified the middle finger there. Just to make sure that they got it right. And how about that funky hat for the Gamekeeper? Check this out. How cool is this? Were he an alien? And notice the look. Who else does that look like? The Salish spirits. So you can see how something was designed for one thing, and then they were like, you know what, for this one we can't, or we're not ready yet, or we want to allocate that for something else. So you can see where the Gamekeeper's look went into the look for the Salish spirits. So can you just see that being Dwight Schultz? You are ruining the garden! Need. Taking the look from Abydos and moving it further. Pyramid and Mine exterior mat. I can't decide if these are supposed to be mother ships or if they're supposed to be just really advanced pyramids. This one doesn't necessarily look like a mother ship so much as it looks like an advanced pyramid. They were really careful not to get too close to the pyramid design from from the feature film in terms of when it appeared on screen. They didn't really dwell too much on that particular technology. I've seen online it's called a Cheops class pyramid, Ra's mothership. I don't know where that comes from. That may be original notes from the feature film. That the phrase Cheops class never appeared on screen, so or was spoken on screen, I should say. Phrases don't appear unless they're written. But yeah, this is a cool one because you can see the mine and the details of the workers and then the city beyond the Pyrrhus' settlement, so, or at least the people of Pyrrhus. And then something very similar for Thor's Chariot. We got a few pieces for Thor's Chariot here. Been really looking forward to sharing some of these. All right, so pyramid ships under construction. This looks far more like a pyramid ship, considering the bases are. I suppose it could be, the other one could be a pyramid ship too. They're just rocks on the outside as the base, but very much similar kind of design. Gold ship matte. Let's take a look at Horror. So they were taking the designs from the feature film and modifying them for their use. This was the only drawing that was done, according to what this says. I'm like, okay then. Can you see Douglas Arthur's in the eyes? Yeah. Exceptionally cool. You know, and they do it off screen when the transformation is done, because it just would have been cost prohibitively expensive. And it's one of those things where, you know, you have your eyesight on the actors and you hear the sound effect and it's like, come on. But at least in kind of close up in Secrets, we do kind of get the effect. And it's pretty well done, all things considered, with Teal'c. Thor's Chariot, the first room, the first test room, Abyss, high angle. So I'm guessing that is Gerwin. I mean, I'm not sure who it's supposed to be, but it ended up being Gerwin. But I love the sense of depth. Thor's Chariot. One of my favorite ships from all of Stargate continuity and lore is Thor's mothership. I think they wanted just a few different radical designs. This is the most radical I've seen, and it is exceptionally cool. So if you were going to take the hammer from Jolinar and make a ship with it, take a look at that. Can you imagine that as a concept for Thor's ship? And you can see some of the elements that they used later on in the design, like the pods. Pods light up between slats. When energy ring forms, they are suspend in ring, surround with visual without visible means. So they kind of float. They float, Georgie. All right. Even more radical than that. This was the 9th of April, 98. This was the 16th of March, 98. This was before. But it is so cool. Take a look at this. This is one of my originals. I love this piece. It just keeps going and going. All right, now take that design aesthetic from this and put it towards what ultimately was. And you get this. So you see the pods here. And obviously the Mjolnir shape. And you end with this, which was the final design. Inside of the spindle-like structures around central axis shaft are intensely illuminated. Exterior Gould Camp, Thor's Chariot. I don't have a date on this. This was drawing number 3, set number 7. But, I mean, you can see the progression from one to the other. This is what I love about concept art. You can infer so much. You can be led astray by, the order of certain things, in development. But I mean, you can see that they took the pods and they converted them into the drive shaft of the spaceship, as it were. I love that. Some episodes definitely got more, let me rephrase. I definitely have more concept art for some episodes than others. Based on the records that I have, it does suggest that some episodes were given more time for development than others. And Message in a Bottle is certainly among those. We have several different designs here. This is the interior of wherever the device was being held. And SG-1 spacesuits before they went with a much more traditional NASA look. The orb room, that's it. The orb. Good morning, campers. Let's take a look at one of the possible exteriors. You can almost see design elements that were carried into the Orbanian technology with the Naquita reactor. It's very Borg-like. I love anything with a Stargate in it. It just makes me smile. See? And another look. I don't really get a good look at the structure in this series. Not as good as I'd like to see it. I forget what we labeled this as, like the orb planet or something. Take a look at the gate room. We don't often get concept art of the gate room. Or the puddle, for that matter. There's Jack getting impaled. So either he's losing his spirit is being impaled, or that's a time. Oh, O'Neill position 1, O'Neill position. I never noticed that. Position 1 and 2. Looky there. You learn something new every day. And the 50 cals. We sold those at PropWorks. Those were heavy. All right. Now, what was inside the orb? There was a chance that we could have seen something inside the orb, so they gave it to us. With this. I'm not going to read all this for you. You can screen cap it. Take a look. That's the exterior. It's like just a little civilization. I mean, if something were to happen to our civilization, and we were a few thousand years more advanced in technology, I could see us doing something like this. Just to maintain our essence. Or when we reach out into the galaxy, God willing, and, we leave our solar system behind as our star begins to fade. So maybe something like this will be left on Earth. Some kind of organic technology. Bane. Christopher Judge's triumph of sitting still all day without being able to go to the bathroom. I mean, how gross are we going here? That's pretty darn gross. All the little ones are just ready to climb out. That's not even Christopher Judge. That's someone else. And then Christopher himself. We rarely get like really close-ups of the cast in drawing concept art. James Robbins did this to a fair effect with his Photoshop work, because he just took pictures of them and then well, not just, but went over the top with them with whatever he was working on. That's a pretty good one of Chris. It's sometimes tough to remember that these are not art per se, in the traditional sense. These are production assets. They are a means to an end. They are art, but they're not designed for admiration specifically. They are designed to finish a larger project. And the fact that they put the detail that they do in, I mean, they could just walk away and say, I don't need to fully render the Jaffa symbol. Everyone in the office knows what that's supposed to be, but they go to the trouble. They really, really do. Ken was a genius. How about the Tok'ra? So we see this in a dream at the beginning of Tok'ra Part 1. It's one of those strands in Stargate that I have a hard time swallowing. That, sometimes what they do, they have to do story-wise to pull off, and it's like Sam conveniently remembering the gate address of the planet that they were last at, that they haven't moved from since. It's necessary for the story because they have nothing else to go on, so I buy it. I just barely buy it. But the concept art for like the Tok'ra tunnels here, so cool. Stargate room. Another planet. Yet another planet. And then the Tok'ra tunnel crystals, as we saw them in seasons 2, 3, and 4. Interior, large room showing ledge and shelf. I love how the Tok'ra look evolved. They were originally like very Greek, and then they went with the pig's stomach lining, and then eventually went to finally to the leather. Man, those poor pigs and cows. Good old Danny. How about the Salish? One of my favorite episodes. All right, Sales, Tanane, won't lie to you. Something's wrong. We need to find Jack. Okay. He's not in here. So let's start at the bottom here. The timeline for the enslavement. Tanane's people being taken through the Stargate by Jaffa. Slaves going through the gate. Zels kills the Goa'uld and saves Tanane's people. Slaves are now free, protected by Zels, Raven, and Oso, the White Wolf. That was changed to Takaya. I love this piece. It is so cool. You see how these things evolve over time. And the circle of standing water. Trinium. This is trinium. That's trinium. Look, it's all made of trinium. We've got some trinium over here. It's the number 23 everywhere. Negative spaces around Jaffa and Stargate are cutouts. Detail lines around SG, Jaffa, and trinium. Feather ends are to be... what is that? Routed around inlay. wherever there is trinium. That Jaffa has extra leg joints. Looks like a frog. One of my favorite... I would love to have a replica of this. And I don't know where the original is. I would love to have a Touchstone. Did you bring the Touchstone? No, Merlin. They don't have it. I mean, how cool is that? The paint job should really be... I mean, they just did a great number on it. And the shrine in the Touchstone. Statue shrine. You can kind of see him in there. I tried to come across the artwork for the statue. I could not find it. One of my favorite pieces. I need to get this thing framed. Here we are. The 5th race. Repository sketch. It's a repository, all right. Some other design elements I keep with these. A lot of these are that I'm not showing you right now are progression sketches, more of for storyboards. I will do those in a different video. I just like to keep all the episodes together. Here's a look at the look for the knowledge device. So, and you can see how a lot of this was used to influence Merlin's weapon repository, because it's all the same technology. It's the same race, just over millions and millions and millions of years. It lasted for a really long time. I'll never forget when that thing went around Jack the first time and I was watching. It's like, no, they're going to do something to his eyes. It's about to get gushy. And they kept it all right. Because, I mean, he'd already, been impaled. And I was like, oh, well, what's going to happen next? So, Apophysis something ship. Yeah. The Glider. One of my favorites. Serpent's Song. What a great show. Another favorite of mine. A lot of people don't care for this one. But I do. Focus. Focus. Okay. Come on, man. Come on, man. There we go. The pod people. The things that we don't understand that we're doing when we go out into the world. Or in this case, another world. And then here. Alien Village, one false step again. And look at the pod plants a little bit more closely. Five versions full size. And I count required 5. Oh, they require 5 versions full size of these to be made. Okay. Yeah. They were so cool. That was so well done. You want to see what a Ritu looks like close up? Check this out. I really wish that we had seen the Ritu more. I just don't think that they really knew what they wanted to do with them. Or maybe it was purely a budget thing. I'd love to have Brad on to ask. Height of Ritu is that of a man or slightly less. See our department color samples of bug photos. Claw cannon. We definitely got to see that pretty well rendered, and it's pretty close to what's on screen. Only a mother could love that face. And they also did an alternate paint scheme, I'm guessing, here. And then the back side of him, here. What about the transphase eradication rod? The Tur. The good old Tur. Sawed-off stap type. So you can definitely see the design influence and how that became this. This is the one we're more accustomed to looking at. You ready for season 3? Man, it took me 30 minutes to get to this part. I apologize. We're going to have to start clicking along with these a little bit faster. All right. One of my favorite originals. The Needle Threader, as we call it. I would love to have seen this design again, just to kind of carry over the fact that, you know, they exist. Not just for one episode. And then alternates. Bird-like. I like those kinds. You know, kind of carry over the Horus kind of element to it. And then a render of that in all of its glory. Stokes Pit. And the interior of Hathor's base, with the back of the gate room pulled away, which is just a wall. They just put in a green screen. So the doors to the stage come out, and then that's what we got for that. It's a pretty convincing use of the space. It did the job very, very well. A close-up of the Gold Killer. They call the Linvers, I think their race. This translucent, or the people were, the translucent puddle that pulses forward. So I guess it does kind of this. And skeletal insides can be seen. So just imagine getting one of those stuck in your ear. Full size. I don't know, man. I don't think it would fit. But it's interesting that they create like kind of like a biological weapon to go in there and literally kill the Gould. So this design was carried through to Universe and everything else. Goa'uld cargo ship, Deadman Switch. One of my more favorite designs from Stargate. And boy, did they get a lot of mileage out of that one. And then the interior. Complete with Eris Bach. And I guess Daniel. I mean, they've definitely got the, you know who I'm talking about, look on that one there. Particularly the helmet. Don't kill me, Lucasfilm. They really did a good job capturing that design aesthetic on the practical set. And here's the, I guess this is a storyboard, but you know, let's show that in terms of the movement of the door. Side elevation, landed position, ship entrance doorway, stage 1 of flying position, cargo ship lifts, wings slide out and move forward. Just so cool. And I'm going to save this one for later. That's really much more, you know, the cannon from Demons, the cannon's ring. As gold, 24 carat, blood red stone as Naquadah, different sections as Naquadah, black Boyd Gak. So this allowed him to kind of behave like an ascended being, pulling lightning from the sky, and then Vala later used it in Prometheus Unbound to heal Daniel's wounds. So I wouldn't have been surprised if the cannon could also heal with it too. It wouldn't have surprised me at all. It would have increased his power immensely. So, lightning bolt control ring. And then the vacuum. Whatever. Go get it. Inside rim to light, globe to glow. All buttons to light off and on. One of the cooler designs. They introduced a lot of Goa'uld tech in season 3. Teka Miniaturons, Intars, Vocuums. You will call me Neonac no longer. From this day forth, I reclaim my true name, 7 of 9, tertiary adjunct of... Okay. This is the episode that started Gateworld, called Starguide at the time. This reveal was key to the conversation that we are having now. Just goes to show you the ripples. Make good ripples in the world. Yeah, go out and stick your head into the wind and you know, get creative with your fandom and bring it, you know, bring it back to the rest of us. The alien heads. I forget what they're called in the novels. I think the novels have a name for them because the Stargate Command Wiki has a name for them that's outside of canon. But yeah. And you can see where this little visor area here where the dude would have, where Alex Zahara and his minions would have seen. Would you like to have a look at the Tolan Stargate? We did not get to see this thing to its full glory on film, and you know, that's a crying shame because how many cultures have built a Stargate? The Ancients, the Arai, the Tolan, who else? I mean, so I'm going to give you an eyeful. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be. It's definitely not Narim. But I don't know who it is. I think it's probably someone in production. Face of Stargate to be flat metal surface. Finish as stainless steel. Star pattern to be etched into metal. I would have loved to have seen this gate. I'd love to see someone make a Tolan gate at some point. I am Togar. And here is my weapon. Mercury-filled vial. Static electricity ball. And what about his little critter? I loved this thing. Wish we would have seen more of it. He was studying it. Alien animal to be created by Visifex. Cage container to hold water. Finish base as for vac form sample. So they could carry this one. I guess he ate crystals for food or something. Very cool. Poor thing. You want to see Urgo as he is? Urgo is this. So there's what we see in the X-ray. And then that's his communication device. It's Togar's interface with him. And Dom DeLuise's ear. I hear you. Be silent. 6,000 magnification. New ground. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this episode. I think it's a good morality tale. Finish up top surface as black and med gray camo. Started seeing some ships from other cultures. This one, the other side. So, very, very cool. Embrace Omatisala. You know what? Let me show this one first. If this still exists in Vancouver, this location, I would really love to see it. The Zen Gardens. I would really love to go here, but I'm not sure where it is. And that's my ignorance. Once it no longer costs $3,000 to visit from quarantining. But yeah, this is ultra cool. And then interior, which was a set. Eight-sided star. Interior temple. I just realized that one of my artwork is just kind of on the wall here, so let me go get it. See, you can't do that live. All right. So this is concept art for Thor's Bliskner mothership. And blast, it's got a reflection. The first real look that we have at replicators. This is so cool. You can see why I have this on my wall. It's just so insane. And then, to finish out, last but not least, floating wreckage and spider. You can't hear many pictures, but you can hear that one. Don't lie. The replicators. We had a great conversation with Rob Cooper, our first interview with him. We talked about the replicators, because they wanted a race that, you couldn't appeal to. And it's just, they just do their thing. So, seasons 2 and 3 concept art. Hope you enjoyed that. So, yeah, a lot more to go. I'm going to go ahead and tape seasons 4 and 5 here next, and a little bit here, and then so we can air that later on in the year. But yeah, that's That's a pretty sizable part of my collection. Rachel Luttrell is going to be joining us in just a little bit here. Let me see. She's going to be joining us at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So we're going to go ahead and give her some space to come in. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you like what you're seeing, if you want more content like this on YouTube, it's very important that you click that like button or comment down below, because the YouTube algorithm will spread this content to more Stargate fans out there who don't have access to it. It's not coming across their feeds. So any help that you can do to spread the word on this, especially if you like concept art, if you want to keep seeing more things specifically like this, then it's important that you do that, because we can just otherwise just do interviews and other such things. But if you like seeing production assets, if you like seeing a peek behind the scenes in terms of how stuff was made, that's what we're doing. So I appreciate you tuning in. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate. We'll see you on the other side.